Welcome to the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We are located on the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is the 29th of March 2018. It's Thursday. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we will be reading the news for today's edition of the Fayetteville Observer.
And we're going to begin today with your weather. Going to have a high today of, can you believe it, 81 degrees. Breezy and very warm with some sun. Tonight we'll have a low of 65 with spotty late night showers. Tomorrow high of 76, a low of 51. We're going to have a touch of morning rain. Saturday a high of 68, a low of 48, and sunshine. Sunday for Easter weekend, high of 75, low of 51, and partly sunny. Monday, a high of 67, a low of 48, chance for a couple of showers. And moving to Tuesday, you have a high of 77, a low of 56, rather cloudy, and a shower possible. And moving to Wednesday, we have a high of 67, a low of 44, not as warm, with a thunderstorm possible. And let's take a look at our sun and moon. Our sunrise today was at 7:07, and the sun will set tonight at 7:34 p.m. The moonrise today is at 6:54 p.m., and the moon will set today at 6:48 a.m. Sunrise for tomorrow, it will rise at 7:05 a.m. and it will set at 7:35. And if you look up into the sky to look at the moon, you will have a full moon on March 31st. The last moon will be April 8th. The new moon will be April 15th. And the first moon appearing on April 22nd. There's your weather for Thursday, March 29th, 2018 from the Fayetteville Observer.
Our applause today goes to Catherine Kerr Rogers of Eastover, whose major is Animal and Veterinary Sciences. She was named to the Fall 2017 President's List at Clemson University in South Carolina. There's another applause, and it goes to Nicholas A. Baxter of Fayetteville, whose major is bioengineering. Nicholas was named to the Fall 2017 President's List at Clemson University in South Carolina. And finally, the last applause goes to Hannah R. Horowitz of Fayetteville, whose major is visual arts, and Hannah was named to the Fall 2017 semester, the President's List at Clemson University in South Carolina. Today in history. Today is Thursday, 29 March 2018. It is the 88th day of 2018. There are only 277 days left in this year. Today's highlight in history: on March 29th, 1943, World War II rationing of meat, fats, and cheese began, limiting customers to store purchases of an average of about 2 pounds a week for beef, pork, lamb, and mutton, using a coupon system. The Associated Press noted, from the customer viewpoint, the unrationed oasis of food will be at the restaurant or other public eating places. On today's date in history, in 1912, British explorer Robert Falcon Scott, his doomed expedition stranded in an Antarctic blizzard after failing to be the first to reach the South Pole. He wrote the last words of his journal: "For God's sake, look after our people." And on today's date in 1951, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were convicted in New York of conspiracy to commit espionage for the Soviet Union, the sickle and the hammer. They were executed in June of 1953, 2 years later, after their conviction. And finally, on today's date, in 1971, Army Lieutenant William L. Calley Jr. was convicted of murdering 22 Vietnamese civilians in the 1968 My Lai massacre. Birthdays for today. Let me look at my celebrity birthday list. And we have none for the local area. But I will say that our author Judith Guest is 82. Comedian Eric Idle is 75. Composer Vangelis is 75. Basketball Hall of Famer Walt Frazier, he is 73 years old today. Singer Bobby Kimball of Toto is 71. Football great Earl Campbell, he's 63 years old today. Actress Marina Sirtis is 63. Rock singer Perry Farrell is 59. Comedian actress Amy Sedaris is 57. Model Ellie McPherson is 55. Actress Lucy Lawless is 50. Country singer Brady Seals is 49. CBS News correspondent Laura Logan is 47. Tennis great Jennifer Capriati is 42 years old today. Rhythm and blues singer P.J. Morton is 37. And wrapping it all up is actress Megan Hilty. She is 37 years old today. And that wraps up everything from applause today in history and your birthdays.
Okay, on Daybreak today, what do you need to know today? Number one, we have some blood drives going on. It says that the Cape Fear Valley Blood Donor Center is experiencing a low blood supply and has several blood drives this week. So donors, you may also go by the center at 3357 Village Drive, Suite 150, weekdays from 9 to 5 p.m. It is also open the third Saturday of the month from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All blood types are needed. However, the center has a critical need for type O donors. For more information, listeners, please call 615-5433. And there is a blood drive going on at Cape Fear Valley Medical Center off Owen Drive from 7:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. There also is one Friday at the same location from 2 to 5:30. And we have a market fair egg hunt because Easter is this weekend. Market Fair Shopping Center off Skybow Road will have its very first annual Easter egg hunt on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Kids can hunt for Easter treats, enjoy face painting, coloring, and take photos with the Easter Bunny. Children need to bring a basket. Don't forget, children need to bring a basket. And 3, they have Easter Bunny carriage rides. The Cool Spring Downtown District will host a horse-drawn carriage rides with none other than the Easter Bunny on Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Tickets are $10 per person, $5 for kids under 12. Tickets may be purchased on the day of the event at 222 Hay Street. In case of rain, the rides will be Saturday. Call 223-1089 to check the schedule. That's carriage rides with none other than the Easter Bunny, Friday. And on number 4, we have a food truck rodeo. Hope Mills is kicking off another season of food truck rodeo events on April 5th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. in Hope Mills Municipal Park. The event, which is free, also will include live music. Now, listeners, we want to hear from you. Please submit your events in writing at least 10 days in advance. or email your calendar at fayobserver.com or fax your details to 486-3545. If you have any questions, call 486-3500.
And for your public safety today in Cumberland County, there were several arrests made. James Patrick Munn, age 35, of the 6700 block of Willowbrook Drive, was charged Wednesday with forgery, uttering, and attempted obtaining property by false pretense. James Patrick Munn's bail was set at $5,000. Yashika Nicole Barnes, age 33, and Boris Stanley McLean Jr., age 35, both of the 1500 block of Hyssop Street, were charged Wednesday with counts each of conspiracy. Each was charged with financial card theft. Yashika Nicole Barnes was charged with 3 counts, and Boris Stanley McLean Jr., he was charged with 4 counts. Their bail was set at $11,000 for Barnes and $11,500 for McLean. Sean Pierre Mendiola, that's Sean Pierre Mendiola, that's a tricky name, age 42, of the 600 block of Fox Lair Drive, was charged Wednesday with fleeing in a motor vehicle to elude arrest and for traffic violation. Jean Pierre Mendiola, his bail was set at $10,000. Clifford Alfonso Niblins, age 30, of the 1600 block of Nutley Drive, was charged Wednesday with embezzlement. Clifford Alfonso Niblins' bail was set at $2,500. Ashley Nicole England, age 26, of the 2000 block of Loganberry Drive, was charged Tuesday with obtaining property by false pretense. Ashley Nicole England's bail was set at $1,000. And for your break-ins in Cumberland County, Manor Haven Court at the 1200 block reported at 3:06 a.m. in the morning on Wednesday, there was nothing reported that was missing. Cairo Court on the 200 block reported at 8:42 p.m. Tuesday that a rifle and a computer was taken. On Dandridge Drive on the 500 block, it was reported at 6:01 p.m. on Tuesday that nothing was missing. In Hope Mills, 3 sites on Gadsden Drive, that's Gadsden Drive, reported between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. on Monday that water heaters were taken. And again in Hope Mills, on Carson Allen Road, that was reported at 1:13 p.m. on Monday that nothing was missing. For your vehicle break-ins on Hope Mills Road, on the 2100 block, it was reported at 12:46 a.m. on Wednesday that a laptop computer was taken and or is missing. And finally, there was a robbery in Cumberland County. Demetrius Linnell McCollum, it was reported at 2:58 a.m. before everybody was up and still in bed on Wednesday that Demetrius Linnell McCollum was robbed of a Corona beer at the North and Brinkley Streets intersection. And ladies and gentlemen, this wraps up your public safety from the Fayetteville Observer for today.
Now, you and I had experience with this one. All right, biannual training increased the booms at Fort Bragg.
Oh boy.
Question: I've lived here since 1992 and have never, ever heard the Fort Bragg artillery this frequently before. It seems to be non-stop day and night. It goes on with such intensity that it really makes me wonder if war is being waged at Fort Bragg and we civilians just aren't aware of it. What is going on? From SL in Fayetteville.
What is going on?
Here's question number 2.
Oh.
Why do citizens in Fayetteville have to endure big guns being blasted at Fort Bragg, but not citizens in Jacksonville near Camp Lejeune? My house off Country Club Drive and Rose Hill Road has been shaking all day and does quite often. At times the blasts are so strong that my whole house quivers and my whole house ceiling fan opens and closes from the jolt. My ceilings are cracking. Can I get Fort Bragg to repair my ceilings? I don't have the money to make these repairs, and if the blasting is an ongoing occurrence, they will continue to crack. When is the blasting going to cease? From JG in Fayetteville. Answer. The big booms you've been hearing from Fort Bragg are military training exercises. Most recently, Marines were in town from Camp Lejeune to conduct their biannual artillery training, which typically takes place around March and October every year. If you believe your property has been damaged as a result of the military training, you can file a claim to the Office of the Staff Judge Advocate by calling its claims office at 396-7505. By Amanda Dolinsky. Livewire seeks to answer questions of general interest and consumer topics. Initials are used to identify questioners when the names are given. Contact Livewire at livewire@fayobserver.com or at 486-3516. Booms at Fort Bragg.
Yeah, that's terrible. I've heard them many times.
Me too.
I'd be interested to see if the 18th Airborne Corps Judge Advocate will reimburse those damages.
Don't know.
Well, there was a second person charged with helping an infant to smoke.
No.
I think we saw this on TV this morning.
We did.
The turbulent home life of a North Carolina infant seen smoking pot on a viral video was evident Wednesday as a second person appeared in court on charges of giving this child a marijuana blunt. Alan Maldonado, age 18, is charged with helping the 1-year-old little girl smoke in videos that sparked outrage after they were seen by millions of people on social media last week. Alan Maldonado, age 18, made a short appearance in a Raleigh courtroom on misdemeanor charges of contributing to the delinquency of a minor and marijuana possession. Alan Maldonado, who asked for a public defender, told the judge he wanted to take a paternity test to prove that the child is not his child. I asked for a DNA sample, sir, because I know that that's not my child, said Alan Maldonado. The girl's mother, a 20-year-old Brianna Ashanti Lofton, was arrested last week on charges that included child abuse and marijuana possession. The little 1-year-old child, was placed with the Child Protective Services, and Brianna Ashanti Lofton and Maldonado, that's Alan Maldonado, had been ordered to have no contact with the 1-year-old little girl. It appears that whatever relationship Alan Maldonado and Brianna Lofton had was a stormy relationship. Both of them were charged last August, that's August 2017, with misdemeanor counts of assaulting each other, according to the most recent court records. The child would have been a few months old at that time when they assaulted one another. An attorney for Brianna Lofton did not immediately respond to an email asking about her relationship with Maldonado. Very interesting little article about a second person charged with helping a little girl, a little 1-year-old girl, smoke a marijuana cigarette.
I don't like that.
Me neither.
All right, let's see what's going on Good Friday, the things that are going to be closed. That's tomorrow. Now, all the banks will be open tomorrow on Friday, Good Friday. The federal offices will be open, and the courts will be open. And you will get mail tomorrow. Postal Service will be in operation. But the state offices will be closed Friday, and the state courts will be closed Friday. Let's go to Fort Bragg. Fort Bragg soldiers and airmen are off Friday.
Who?
The Fort Bragg soldiers and airmen.
So today they'll probably get off at 12 noon.
North Post Commissary is open 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sunday, and the South Post Commissary is operating on regular hours. The South Post Exchange is open 11 to 6 p.m. Sunday, and the North Post Exchange will be operating on regular hours. And the schools, Cumberland County schools, are closed Friday. In Cumberland County, the county offices will be closed on Friday. Public libraries will be closed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Ann Street and Wilkes Road landfills will have their regular hours Friday and Saturday, but they will be closed Monday. As for Fayetteville, the city offices are closed Friday. And the buses, regular service on Friday, but there will be no bus service on Sunday. Trash collection, household garbage and yard waste collection for Friday will not be affected. Household garbage and yard waste collection scheduled to be on Monday, however, will be collected the following Wednesday. And PWC is going to be closed Friday. Looking at Hope Mills, the town offices are going to be closed Friday. And the trash collection in Hope Mills, trash and recycling services will operate on a normal schedule. Spring Lake, town offices closed Friday. The trash collection is not affected. And for the Fayetteville Observer, circulation, customer service, and the newsroom are open. There you go.
That's a lot of people closed on Good Friday.
It's Easter.
It is, and we will have to fast for at least 48 hours before Easter Sunday. And here is an opinion from the Fayetteville Observer's editorials. What is going on with Councilman Williams? We don't know whether City Councilman Tyrone Williams is trying to weave a tangled web or if he's just gotten himself into a complicated batch of business dealings. Whatever it is, it's time for City Councilman Tyrone Williams to take a deep breath and get his story straight and then share it being his story, with his fellow council members and with his voters and taxpayers who elected him and who pay his salary. What he's had to say so far about his apparent conflict of interest regarding downtown development has done little but sow confusion and raise suspicion. That's not helpful to the councilman nor to the city he swore to serve just a few months ago when he was sworn in to office. What appears clear is that City Councilman Tyrone Williams has had some sort of conflict of interest that may preclude him from voting on some issues related to the downtown development of Fayetteville, and specifically on projects involving the investment group that is renovating the Prince Charles Hotel into apartment spaces and working on other nearby projects as well. Well, we appreciate the City Council's quick action to release minutes of a closed session and acknowledge that City Councilman Tyrone Williams appears to have a conflict that prevents him from voting on the redevelopment across the street from City Hall. But now that the public knows what is in the minutes and has heard the discussion, there may be even more confusion about what City Councilman Tyrone Williams has actually done. It appears that City Councilman Tyrone Williams had business dealings with the former Prince Charles Hotel owner, John Chin. We know he met with the current owners last December 2017. We know that the city has hired a Charlotte lawyer who specializes in white-collar crime to serve as liaison between the city, between Prince Charles Holdings, and between any third parties that were involved or might become involved. And we also know this. So far, nobody has given the public a plain spoken explanation about what's going on here. The city and Prince Charles Holdings are engaged in some of the most important transformative projects ever undertaken in downtown Fayetteville. It is the biggest of big deals, and it's time for council members and the lawyers to start talking straight and telling the entire story to us, assuming someone knows what it is. However, on Monday, the council unanimously agreed to allow Councilman Tyrone Williams to recuse himself from a vote on a parking deck lease with Prince Charles Holdings in setting the date for a public hearing on financing the baseball stadium being built in that same area. While it does appear that City Councilman Tyrone Williams had a relationship with a previous Prince Charles owner, the current owner says City Councilman Tyrone Williams has no financial interest in the project now. During the Monday meeting, City Councilman Tyrone Williams read from a letter addressed to the mayor and the city attorney, which stated, quote, "As I indicated to you and the city attorney in early February, I have a financial interest with regards to this entity," unquote. City Attorney Karen McDonald said there had been no such conversation. In a phone interview with an observer from the Fayetteville newspaper, an Observer reporter on Tuesday, said that Williams has a dispute with the Prince Charles Holdings, but that City Councilman Tyrone Williams would not elaborate. Then he said he wasn't feeling well, and he ended the conversation and has not answered subsequent calls. The Prince Charles project manager says he is unaware of any disputes from City Councilman Tyrone Williams or his legal team. Legal team, they ask, with a question mark here and there. Another question that needs answering. And according to several legal experts the Fayetteville Observer has contacted, if there really is a conflict, it could void earlier decisions on the downtown projects that City Councilman Tyrone Williams has voted on. And, of course, it appears in short to be a mess. The City Council has called for a special meeting at 5 p.m. today to consult with the city's attorney about this whole nasty little situation. When the meeting ends, it is time for the council to brief the people of this city, the voters. It is our government, our money, our project, and our future. And I can see by the clock that it is 10:30 in the morning on Thursday, 2017. And I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina radio reading service.
All right, we're going to have an editorial by Leonard Pitts Jr. to balance gun rights with common sense. So there you are, cowering under your desk. From the hallway, you hear the pop, pop, pop of gunfire, along with the shrieks of the terrified and moans of the dying. The good guy with a gun? Maybe he's crouched outside the building. Maybe he's dead in the break room. Whichever, he's not there. And now, horribly, the doorknob to your classroom begins to turn. What do? You throw rocks. At least that's what you do if you're a student of the rural Blue Mountain School District in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania. It came out last week that Superintendent Dr. David Helsel has ordered that each classroom be equipped with a bucket of river stones. They're the right size for hands. Hensel explained to WNEP, the local TV news station, you can throw them very hard, and they will create or cause pain, which can distract. And who knows, maybe it would actually work. Maybe the kids would get lucky and drive the attacker back. Or maybe a room full of second graders lob rocks that loop high and clatter harmlessly to the floor, and the man in the doorway laughs and kills them all. One outcome seems about as likely as the other. But to argue the probable effectiveness of Helsel's rocks is to miss a larger point, namely, the very idea is a surrender, a retreat from what ought to be uncontroversial principle, i.e. there shouldn't be a shooter in the hall in the first place. In that, Helsel's bucket of rocks is like the proposal to arm teachers and former Senator Rick Santorum's dumb suggestion that the best way to respond to mass shootings is to teach kids CPR. None of these strategies, please note, seeks to prevent massacres. Rather, each implicitly asks us to accept that they are inevitable and unstoppable like natural disasters. After all, you wouldn't pass a law against tornadoes or earthquakes, and some gun rights advocates would have us believe it makes just as little sense to try to keep mass shootings from occurring. They ask us to accept the unacceptable as a given. Problem is, a mass shooting is not a natural disaster, but a human one. Thus, it can be legislated against. Nor is the fact that a law would not be 100% effective a sensible reason not to pass it. No law is 100% effective. Shall we repeal prohibitions against murder or child molestation because those crimes still occur? That said, the right has no monopoly on unworkable ideas. Tuesday, the New York Times published an op-ed from former Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens, arguing that the solution to gun violence lies in repeal of the Second Amendment. This, he says, would be simple. It wouldn't. In the first place, there's no reason to believe proponents could muster the necessary support from 38 states. In the second place, the attempt would instantly validate every paranoid fantasy the NRA has inculcated in its followers, making violent civil unrest inevitable And in the third place, there is no need. As Canada proves daily, it's entirely possible to balance gun rights with common sense restrictions that save lives. Comprehensive background checks and a ban on private ownership of high-capacity magazines and semi-automatic weapons would be a good place to start. What we lack is not a way to stop strategies, but a will. Reinhold Niebuhr famously prayed for serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. But so long as America lacks the second and third, we can never have the first. Well, at least we've got plenty of rocks. Now, Leonard Pitts Jr. is winner of the 2004 Pulitzer Prize for commentary. He is a columnist for the Miami Herald at 3511 Northwest 91st Avenue, Doral, Florida 33172. Readers may write to him via email at lpitts@miamiherald.com.
And now we have a little something from our own Fayetteville columnist, Myron B. Pitts. He says an Easter egg hunt is to honor Mason's late friend. In 1984, Robert Mosey Lee Walker of Masonic Silver Square Lodge number 791 decided the brothers need to reach out more into their community. An Easter egg hunt seemed like a good idea, and he knew just who to tap. Irvin Farmer Jr. and Parnell Miles, 30-something friends who were graduates of E. Smith High School and knew the area well. Those two men smile now at the memory. Walker was then head of the lodge, and Farmer and Miles were new Prince Hall Masons, having just joined the previous year. Plus, Marvin Mosey Lee Walker had a way of connecting with people and getting them to work in the lodge and beyond. He pulled rank on us, Farmer says of Walker, a retired command sergeant major, but it was for a good cause. Robert Mosey Lee Walker was always child-minded, said Farmer, referring to Walker by his last name, as many of his friends did. And 34 years later, Farmer and Miles still organize the annual egg hunt. But Saturday's event at Smith Recreation Center will be the first since they lost their friend and mentor. Robert Mosey Lee Walker, formerly of Masonic Silver Square Lodge number 791, died in January of this year at age 82. The lodge has now named the event the Robert M. L. Walker Easter Egg Hunt. It is scheduled for 9 a.m. at the Recreation Center on Slater Avenue across from Fayetteville State University. Farmer and Miles estimate between 300 and 400 children will show up for this event. They will be divided by age, and the hunt, which starts at 10 a.m., will include 2,500 boiled eggs and 2,000 plastic eggs. The boiled eggs are a tradition that carries back to the first egg hunt, when it was held on the Monday after Easter, and Lodge brothers would start boiling and coloring the eggs after Easter sunrise service. Children like finding both kinds of eggs, says Miles. What we found is that children, no matter where they come from, no matter from what walk of life, they do not stop being children, he says. Farmer and Miles said that for 2 or 3 years, turkey eggs were in the mix. thanks to two brothers who raised turkeys in Bladen County. They are real big, said farmers with a laugh. Other activities on Saturday will include bounce houses, games, free hot dogs, coloring books, and prizes for the children, a disc jockey, and Easter baskets provided by the woman of the Order of the Eastern Star, Ada chapter number 31. Walker, a Brooklyn, New York native who was a funeral director with Wiseman Mortuary, would have enjoyed this scene. He had a special heart for children. He was a contributor to the Central Children's Home of North Carolina in Oxford and organized an annual parade and special day for the children who are orphans. Farmer works with a regional youth branch affiliated with the Masons and says Walker could always be counted on to pitch in money or his time. He did not want you to make a fuss. You didn't know all the things he did, says Walker's daughter, Trifina Wiseman. He wasn't one to brag about it. The egg hunt was Walker's vision, and it quickly grew, and at one point the brothers were hiding 10,000 eggs at simultaneous events at 3 recreation centers. For Farmer and Miles, the event is more than a hunt, because they grew up in homes with single mothers in an area near Fayetteville State University called, quote, the bottom, unquote, because the yards flooded most of the time. Miles says the Masons were among the men he saw in charge of baseball teams and other events. He credits their attention and guidance as male role models to help him and Farmer become the men that they are today. The Silver Square Masons in Fayetteville offer scholarships, they offer to feed the homeless, and they put together Thanksgiving and Christmas baskets and sponsor back-to-school events. We watch those guys, the Masons, give back to their community, Miles said, of those Masonic brothers from his youth. Walker was in that same mold. That is Robert Mosey Lee Walker. He was in that same mold. He said that Walker believed in the saying that no person is taller than when they stoop to help a child. And this article was written by columnist, our own columnist, Myron B. Pitts. And if you would like to discuss this article with him, you can do so by calling him at 910-486-3559.
All right, in an opinion, check the president, not a cabinet job. This is written by Mark A. Thyssen. In the wake of President Trump's decision to appoint John Bolton as his national security advisor and Mike Pompeo as Secretary of State, a consistent criticism has emerged. Trump will no longer have any adult supervision in the national security decision-making process or any cabinet-level checks on his own worst instincts. This view is not only insulting, it is fundamentally anti-democratic. The Constitution places many checks on a president's power, including Congress, an independent judiciary, and a free press. It's not the job of cabinet officials to be a check on the president. Their job is to give the president options so he can make decisions, not restrict choices to constrain him. One of the reasons Trump is reshuffling his national security team is because he has reportedly been deeply frustrated with the lack of options presented to him. In April, he reluctantly recertified the Iran nuclear deal, but told his national security advisors that he didn't want to recertify again and instructed them to provide a range of options before the next deadline in October. They didn't do it. That's unacceptable. According to the Weekly Standard, Trump was so angry that no one presented a decertification option that he put Senator Tom Cotton, representative from Arkansas, on speakerphone during an Oval Office meeting to make the case, providing advice that Trump soon followed. More recently, the New York Times reported that Trump has grown frustrated with the Pentagon's failure to provide him with military options for North Korea. According to the Times, Pentagon officials are worried that the White House is moving too hastily toward military action on the Korean Peninsula that could escalate catastrophically. Giving the president too many options, officials said, could increase the odds that he will act. Sorry, that's not how it works in our democracy. We have civilian control of the military, and the president is commander-in-chief. If he wants military options, it's the Pentagon's job to deliver them. That some in the Pentagon don't understand that is a greater threat to our democracy than Trump's temperament. Bolton is determined to fix these problems. Cabinet officers are supposed to give the president options, including some that they may disagree with, provide their best advice, and then salute and carry out his orders. Bolton is determined to make that happen. Axios reported that he plans to be an honest broker who will make sure that all sides are heard when national security decisions are discussed. But he will also be an enforcer who makes sure the cabinet officials carry out the president's orders. The president directs the Pentagon to produce military options for North Korea or demands more creative options on the Iran nuclear deal. Slow walking will no longer be tolerated. That's a good thing. This does not mean that Bolton wants to lead us into war. He doesn't. Bolton is a traditional peace through strength conservative, with vast government experience as Undersecretary of State for Arms Control and International Security and Ambassador to the United Nations. He understands firsthand the way bureaucracies work to narrow options and hinder policy decisions they do not like. He knows how to make sure this does not happen to this president. Trump's decision to replace Rex Tillerson with Pompeo will strengthen diplomacy in a similar way. Under Tillerson, the Secretary of State did not listen to his subordinates, and the President did not listen to the Secretary. That will change under Pompeo, who built a strong personal bond with Trump while at the CIA, delivering the President's daily intelligence briefing. He will have the trust and the ear of the Commander-in-Chief, which means the State Department will have more influence. This should thrill our diplomats. Trump faces tough decisions in the months ahead. On North Korea, after a quarter century of presidents of both parties kicking the can down the road, we finally have run out of road. Trump will soon face a binary choice. Allow North Korea to deploy the capability to reach U.S. citizens with nuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles, or stop it from deploying that capacity. We all want the latter to happen peacefully. For that, the President needs a national security team that understands its mission is to constrain Kim Jong-un, not Donald Trump. In Bolton and Pompeo, Trump finally has that team. Now you can follow the Washington Post columnist Mark Thiessen on Twitter at Mark Thiessen. Thiessen writes a twice-weekly column for the Post on foreign and domestic policy and contributes to the Post partisan blog. He is a fellow of the American Enterprise Institute and the former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush. The Constitution places many checks on a president's power, including Congress, an independent judiciary, and a free press. It's not the job of the cabinet officials to be a check on the president. Their job is to give the president options so he can make decisions, not restrict choices to constrain him. There you go.
And the senior center cost increase is questioned. City Councilman Jim Arp questioned Deputy City Manager Christoph Bauer on why the cost estimate for the planned senior center west came in at $2.3 million more than expected. Did they know what our budget was? Asked Jim Arp. He asked Bauer that during a Parks and Recreation Bond Projects Committee meeting Wednesday night. That was yesterday evening. The committee controls how Fayetteville's $35 million Parks and Recreation bond approved by the voters in 2016 will be implemented. Deputy City Manager Christoph Bauer said yes. He said the contractors originally came back to the city with an $8.4 million estimate for the project, and they were able to get it down to $7.3 million. The center, budgeted for $5 million, is scheduled to be completed by 2019. An email by Mayor Pro Tem Ted Moan sent February 18th said the final cost of the center will be $7 million. Deputy City Manager Christoph Bauer reminded the committee that it was their request of contractors to make a bigger facility. And let us be clear, sir, said Deputy Chief Manager Christoph Bauer, they brought us a smaller design, and this committee said bump the design up to a larger facility. The committee then discussed the possibility of making the design smaller. City staff said they would look into it. The fate of the skateboard park also came up at this meeting. The proposed $1 million facility that had been scheduled to open in December, but the Aberdeen and Rockfish Railroad Company's sale price for the land that city officials had in mind was unexpectedly higher than anticipated. Deputy City Manager Christoph Bauer said the city is still negotiating with the company and it is looking into a public-private partnership to use this land. Monica Vinditaroli wrote this article, and if you have any more questions about this article, you may call her at 910-486-3596.
Okay, and here we have some vets honored for their Vietnam service. We have a picture of Edward Clark. He's the director of the Fayetteville Vet Center. He's speaking at a commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War on Wednesday in Lumberton. 50 years. So the vets are honored for their Vietnam service. This is written by Amanda Dolinsinski. She's a staff writer. In Lumberton, more than 5 decades after they navigated the jungles and rice paddy fields of Vietnam, local veterans are being remembered for their service. From its site in Lumberton, the Fayetteville Vet Center honored Vietnam veterans on Wednesday as part of its commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the war. The event was among thousands held across the country in recognition of a proclamation by then President Barack Obama to honor U.S. troops who served on active duty from November 1st, 1955 to May 15th, 1975. Of the 9 million Americans who served at that time, 7 million are still living, according to the Department of Defense. President Donald Trump recently signed into law the Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act of 2017, which establishes March 29th as National Vietnam War Veterans Day. During this commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, we embrace our responsibility to help our Vietnam veterans and their families heal from the heavy toll of war, Trump said. We remember the more than 58,000 whose names are memorialized on a black granite wall in our nation's capital for having borne the heaviest cost of war. Today, the DoD and the Department of Veterans Affairs will hold a wreath-laying ceremony at the Vietnam War Memorial. In Lumberton, veterans receive copies of Obama's presidential proclamation and Vietnam veteran pins. The Fayetteville Vet Center provides free readjustment counseling services to veterans and troops returning home from combat, as well as their family members. When 69-year-old Roland veteran William Hunt returned from war, he said there was no fanfare. It was more common to be ostracized for his service, he said. He was 20 years old when he was drafted into the Marine Corps, where he served for about 2 years with the 3rd Marine Amphibious Force, 4th Combat Action Group. He distinctively remembers how troops were trained to disperse and walk away from children, since they were known to walk up to American troops with grenades. His service was difficult, he said, but he remains proud of his contributions. I put my life on the line, he said. It was just an honor to be of service to our country. Another veteran, an 89-year-old Arthur Schul, and that could be Shaw, served 2 tours of Vietnam before returning to Fort Bragg, where he retired as a chief warrant officer, too, after more than 20 years of service. He was a door gunner on a Huey helicopter, seeing far more combat than during his time in Korea, he said. When he reflects on his service, it's the people he remembers. We had some good people there, he said. We lost good people. And each year, as he remembers Vietnam, it's the buddies he lost that he thinks about. He hopes young Americans will take time each year to pause and reflect on that service. It's important for our young people to remember the history of the United States, he said. Now, staff writer Amanda Dolinsinski can be reached at adolinsinski@fayobserver.com or 486-3528. And from local and state council to ask for closed session by Monica Venituoli, staff writer. The City Council will be asked to vote on whether to hold a special meeting scheduled for today in closed session, a source familiar with the situation said. The source requested anonymity because of the nature of closed session meetings. On Tuesday, City of Fayetteville sent out a notice for a special meeting to be held today at 5 p.m. in City Hall's Lafayette Conference Room. The notice said the meeting's purpose is for consultation with City Attorney Karen McDonald regarding an attorney-client privilege matter. North Carolina's open meetings law allows government entities to meet behind closed doors to receive legal advice or discuss a pending legal matter. The source said Mayor Mitch Colvin called for the meeting and said it pertained to development projects in the 100 block of Hay Street. On Monday, Williams said that he has financial interest in the Prince Charles Holdings Investment Group and that he previously disclosed an appearance of a conflict of interest to the city's lawyer and the mayor in February. He then recused himself from Monday regarding the projects.
time now is 11 o'clock in the morning. It's Thursday. It is the 29th of March, 2018. And I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. I would also like to remind you about our up-and-coming 8th annual golf tournament. It is called the We Read Radio, Read to the Blind Through Radio. It is the 8th annual golf tournament, and it is on the 7th of April, 2018, and the 7th of April is Saturday. And it will be located, this golf tournament, at the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club. Registration begins at 11 a.m. and tee-off will be at 12 p.m. With your support of $100, your sponsorship will include additional advertisement and hole signage. A corporate sponsorship of $300 will also include additional advertisement and hole signage, and 4 players will be eligible to play for free. Again, this tournament is on the 7th of April, 2018, on Saturday. Your radio hosts today have been Clark and
Nancy.
And if you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. And remember, we are proud to serve you today.
We're moving to the obituaries for today. The death notices. The following deaths have been reported. See upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer for complete obituary information. Going to Cumberland County, Richard P. Langlois, age 70, of Spring Lake, Adcock Funeral Home, Spring Lake. Jane Dunham Chapman, age 70, of Fayetteville, Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. John A. Stewart Jr., 77, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Cape Fear Region, Sheila E. Pipkin, age 65, of Maxton, S&L Funeral Home, Maxton. Harold Hunt, age 65, of Rowland Hills Funeral Home. Funerals today. Robert O'Brien, age 84, of Bladenboro, 2 p.m., St. Christopher's Episcopal Church, Elizabethtown. The burial will be at Columbarium at Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home in Elizabethtown. Jeanette Cohen Tanner, age 79, of Fayetteville, 1 p.m., Sullivan Highland Funeral Service. And the burial will be at Spring Branch Baptist Church Cemetery in Dunn. Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service and Crematory. Bishop Tyrone Johnson, age 60, of Fayetteville, 12:30 p.m. Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. The burial at Sandhill State Veteran Cemetery, Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. Ursula Williamson, age 91, of Clarkton, 11 a.m. Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home Chapel, and the burial at Clarkton Cemetery, Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home, Elizabethtown. Larry Haddon, age 62, of Fayetteville, 12 p.m. Sandhill State Veterans Cemetery, Unity Funeral Services. Moving to Cumberland County, Barbara R. Wiley, age 87, went home to be with her Lord on March 26, 2018. Services are going to be held at Highland Presbyterian Church at 11 a.m. on Friday, March 30th, 2018, with a reception following. Services are entrusted to Sullivan Highland Funeral Service and Crematory. Donna C. Harris, age 55, of Fayetteville, died Tuesday, March 27th, 2018. Sullivan Highland Funeral Service and Crematory. Fannie L. Thomason, from Fayetteville, passed away peacefully at her residence Tuesday, March 27, 2018. Services are entrusted to Jernigan Warren of Fayetteville. Rebecca Beal Smith, age 86, passed away Tuesday, March 27, 2018 at Cape Fear Valley Medical Services. Services are entrusted to Butler Funeral Home, 6535 Clinton Road in Stedman, North Carolina, 28391. Devin Neil David Scully, age 47, passed away on Tuesday, March 20th, 2018 at his residence. Services are entrusted to Sullivan Highland Funeral Service and Crematory. Minister Reginald D. Smith, age 54, of Fayetteville, died Monday, March 26, 2018. Burial will be at the Northside Cemetery, Wiseman Mortuary. And Bernadette Williams, age 41, of Fayetteville, died Friday, March 23, 2018. Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory.
And in the region and elsewhere, Mrs. Barbara Autry, age 67, of the 170 South River Road, or of 170 South River Road, passed away Wednesday, 28 March 2018, at her home. The funeral service will be held at 2 p.m. on Saturday, 31 March, at the Old Mill Church of God, 170 Williams Lake Road in Roseboro, with the Reverend Jimmy Honeycutt and the Reverend Gary Bateman officiating. The burial will follow at T.J. Hall Cemetery, located at South River Road in Autryville. The family will receive friends from 6 to 8 p.m. on Friday, 30 March 2018 at the Old Mill Church of God, and other times at her home. The Butler Funeral Home of Roseboro is proudly serving the family for those funeral services. Maddie Mae Rogers, age 65, of Wagram, died Saturday, 24 March 2018. The funeral will be on Friday at 1 p.m. at the Nazareth Missionary Baptist Church in Wagram. The visitation will be at the Purcell Funeral Home Chapel in Laurinburg on Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. The burial will be at the Nazareth Church Cemetery in Wagram. The Purcell Funeral Home of Laurinburg is handling those funeral services. Ursula DuBois Williamson, age 91, of Clarkton, died Monday, 26 March 2018 The funeral will be on Thursday at 11 a.m. at the Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home. The visitation will be at the Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and the burial will be at the Clarkton Cemetery. The Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home is handling those funeral services. It is with tremendous sadness that we announce the passing of our most beloved mother, Bobby Nell Thompson, on 10 March 2018. Bobby N. Thompson was born near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on 2 November 1937 and spent most of her adult life in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Bobby was a force of nature and will be missed deeply by her children and those that knew her. May her soul rest in peace and her spirit soar. Ms. Stella Cutts Clark, age 68, of Raleigh, formerly of Angier, died Saturday, 24 March 2018. The funeral will be on Saturday at noon at the Cape Fear Conference A headquarters located at 25 Beaver Road in Irwin. The viewing will be at the Dafford Funeral Home located at 50 Tippett Road in Angier on Friday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. The burial will be in Angier at the Angier Community Cemetery in Angier. The Dafford Funeral Home of Angier will be handling those funeral services. Mr. Earl Jr. Hunt, age 62, of Orem, died Tuesday, 27 March 2018. The funeral will be on Sunday at 4 p.m. at the McDonald Pentecostal Holiness Church, located on McDonald Road in Fairmont. The visitation will be at the McDonald Pentecostal Holiness Church on Sunday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. The burial will be determined at a later date. Judy Jones, age 75, of Dunn, died Tuesday, 27 March 2018. The funeral will be on Friday at 2 p.m. at the Cromartie Miller Funeral Home Chapel. The visitation will be at the Cromartie Miller Funeral Home on Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and the burial will be at the Antioch Church Cemetery. Jenny Murphy, age 72, of Clinton, died Monday, 26 March 2018. The funeral will be on Saturday at 1 p.m. at the Carter Funeral Home. The viewing will be at the Carter Funeral Home on Friday from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. and the burial will be at the Garland Community Cemetery. The Carter Funeral Home of Garland has been entrusted with those funeral services. Billy Coy Vaughn, age 77, of Coates, died Tuesday, 27 March 2018. The funeral will be on Monday at 2 p.m. at the Mingo Baptist Church in Dunn. The visitation will be at the Mingo Baptist Church in Dunn on Monday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. The burial will be at the Coates City Cemetery. West and Dunn Funeral Home in Irwin has been entrusted with those funeral services. Michael Anthony Nasso Jr., age 61, of Whiteville, died Monday, 26 March 2018. There will be a graveside service on Thursday from 2 p.m. at the Whiteville Memorial Cemetery. The burial will be at the Fayetteville Memorial Cemetery. McKenzie Mortuary Service has been entrusted with the funeral services. Charles Lewis Evans, age 65, of Clarkton, died Saturday, 24 March 2018. The visitation will be at the Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home on Friday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home has been entrusted with all of those funeral services. This concludes today's death notices and obituaries for the 29th of March 2018 on Thursday.
Okay, let's go to Billy Graham. Jesus' words on the cross were an affirmation that his work was finished. From the writings of the Reverend Billy Graham. Question: was Jesus giving in to doubt and despair when he cried out from the cross that it was all finished? Did he think he'd been a failure? From Mrs. A.S. Answer: no. When Jesus cried out, "It is finished," he was not expressing despair or doubt, although his enemies may have thought so, since it looked like they had won. Some of his disciples felt the same way, forgetting the promises he'd made to them that he would be raised from the dead by the power of God. Instead, his words were a strong affirmation that the work God had given him to do during his time on earth was now finished, totally and completely. In his final prayer for his disciples, Jesus declared, "I have brought you glory on earth by finishing the work you gave me to do." From the book of John, chapter 17, verse 4. Nothing more needed to be done. What was that work? Why did Jesus, the divine Son of God, leave heaven's glory and come into the world? He came for one reason: to become the final sacrifice for our sins. We deserve only God's judgment, but on the cross, Jesus Christ took upon himself the judgment in hell that we deserve. He did for us what we could never do for ourselves, and now he offers us forgiveness and salvation as a free gift. Free because he has already paid the price for it. But like any other gift, we must receive it. We do this by turning to God in repentance and faith, and trusting Christ alone for our salvation. Have you received him and welcomed him into your life? God's promise is for you. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. From the book of John, chapter 1, verse 12. Now, this is from the Billy Graham Literary Trust, distributed by the Tribune Content Agency, LLC.
And not a freeloader feels that the household division of labor is a source of a couple's tension. And now we bring you to our version of As the World Turns from Dear Abby. Dear Abby, Ron and I have been married for 20 years, and we have 2 children. Recently, Ronnie called me a freeloader and described my parents as half-assed. It is not the first time I have heard this from Ronnie. Now, I work part-time, Abby, so I can have a flexible schedule and be home with our kids after school. Ronnie earns considerably more money than I do, and although I inherited money from my father that will provide security for our kids regardless of our incomes, I think I am a great mother. Our kids are healthy, and I believe that I am a well-adjusted female. Although I don't need my husband's salary to live comfortably because of my father's money that he will provide to me later in life when he passes away, I appreciate the good life that his work gives us. And I do what I can as a wonderful wife to show Ronnie that I appreciate him. I do, however, expect Ronnie to participate in raising our kids and contribute to the running of the household. I think it is very important, and I have work responsibilities and volunteer in our community. But Ronnie says I do far less than most of my friends who don't work, and that he does a lot more around the house than the dads he knows, and he resents it because he makes so much more money than I do. How much is fair to expect him to help with our kids and home life? How can I get my husband Ronnie to see how much hurt his name calling and his disrespect causes me? Signed, not a freeloader. Dear, not a freeloader. Every marriage is unique, which is why your husband should not compare himself to the other dads and you to the other wives. I find it odd that the husband of a working wife and mother would resort to name calling and accuse you of being a freeloader. Of course, little Ronnie should participate in his children's lives. That's what being a husband and a father is all about. Marriage is supposed to be a partnership. Helping with housework sets a good example for the children. If the two of you cannot work out a compromise without the name calling, you all or you both should agree to have a licensed marriage counselor mediate your discussions between you two. And next, the last question for Abby. Dear Abby, I have a relative who has just been released from prison. And this former prisoner is living with me and my family. He was incarcerated for more than 20 years for drugs. And it breaks my tiny little heart to say that he has relapsed again and could be heading back down that same old trashy road that put him in prison. My mother doesn't want a drug addict in her house, and she told this drug addict relative of mine to make other living arrangements, and he has agreed to stay with other relatives where there are more job opportunities for him. And you know, Abby, I feel guilty. And you know what? My mother does too. But she refuses to go through what she experienced during her childhood with this relative. Abby, is this the right thing to do? To trash this relative and throw him to the curb? Signed, Relapse in California. Dear Relapse in California, yes, your mother has made her feelings clear to this relative. Living with a drug addict is chaotic, and if she does not want a repeat of the unpleasant and possibly traumatic experience, she shouldn't have to live with this relative. By getting him out of the house, she is taking care of herself, and for that she shouldn't feel guilty. However, because she does, it might help her and you to attend some of NAR-Anon meetings. That's Narcotics Anonymous meetings. This group was founded in 1967 during the hippie revolution, and its mission is to provide emotional support to families and friends of drug addicts. To locate a meeting nearby, visit narcoticsanonymous.org. That's spelled NAR-ANON.org, or call the toll-free number 1-800-477-6291. Readers, if you have a question for Abby, you can write her at dearabby.com via email, or you can send her a snail mail letter by addressing it to Dear Abby, Post Office Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069.
All right, here's that happy time, the magic moment. The Horoscope by Stella Wilder. Now, if you were born today, you are one of those complex, mysterious individuals who are often misunderstood by the masses. But you can boast 2 or 3 very special, lifelong friends who can sum you up easily. Aries, March 21st through April 19th. Aries, you must weigh your needs and desires against those of a close friend or family member. Only then will you understand what you must do. And Taurus, April 20th to May 20th. Taurus trust becomes a major issue during this busy and complicated day. You can remain above the fray if you remember just where your alliances lie. And Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. What you do early in the day leads to unanticipated consequences. Don't wait until someone else tells you about them. Find out now. Cancer, June 21st through July 22nd. You may be nearing a junction that presents a personal danger to you that you must face head on, lest you fall prey to it again. Leo, July 23rd through August 22nd. Leo, all you can do is your best, but today you may have trouble determining if you have met that basic criterion. Let a friend review your work. Virgo, August 23rd through September 22nd. It's a good time for you to explore unfamiliar territory. You are well stocked with valuable resources, and the risk of error is minimal. Libra, September 23rd through October 22nd. Libra, you can contribute something of value today, and even your critics are likely to appreciate your efforts. A new sign points the way. Scorpio, October 23rd through November 21st. Scorpio, messages you receive today play upon your emotions, but you don't have to take the bait. Get the facts before making any concrete decisions. Sagittarius, November 22nd through December 21st. Someone has been trying to tear you down for quite some time. Today you have the guts to say something, then walk away. Capricorn, December 22nd through January 19th. Cappy, what you do today is likely to be remembered tomorrow and long after that. You've stumbled upon a golden opportunity. Aquarius, January 20th through February 18th. You receive guidance today from someone who has been in your position many times in the past. Your outlook will change. Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. Take care, Pisces, that an attempt to conceal certain personal information doesn't whet another's appetite for it. It's a situation best avoided. And this is from the 2018 United Feature Syndicate by Wiley.
And now it's time to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations, and we request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina radio reading service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. I would also like to remind you that next month, at the beginning of next month, on the 7th of April 2018, on Saturday, we will have our 8th annual golf tournament called the We Read Radio, Read to the Blind Through Radio. It is located at the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club. Registration will start for the 8th annual golf tournament at 11 a.m. and tee-off time will be at 12 p.m. With your support of $100, your sponsorship will include additional advertisement and hole signage. A corporate sponsorship of $300 will include additional advertisement and hole signage, and four players will be eligible to play at the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club for free. Your donation is tax deductible. Remember, that is on the 7th of April 2018 on Saturday at the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club. If you have any questions or comments about the program, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
All right, here's a really interesting article. Astronomers are baffled by void of dark matter. This is by Seth Borenstein from the Associated Press from Washington. It's a double cosmic conundrum. Lots of stuff that was already invisible has gone missing. Astronomers have found a distant galaxy where there is no dark matter. What is dark matter? Dark matter is called dark because it can't be seen. It is the mysterious and invisible skeleton of the universe that scientists figure makes up about 27% of the cosmos. Scientists only know dark matter exists because they can observe how it pushes and pulls things they can see, like stars. It's supposed to be everywhere. But Yale University astronomer Peter Van Dokkum and colleagues spied a vast, old galaxy with relatively few stars, where what you can see truly is what you get. The galaxy's stars are speeding around with no apparent influence from dark matter, according to a study published in Wednesday's journal Nature. Instead of shaking the very foundation of physics, scientists say this absence of dark matter may help prove the existence of, wait for it, dark matter. Not sure what to make of it, but it is definitely intriguing, wrote Case Western Reserve astronomer Stacy McGaugh, who is not part of the study, in an email. This is a weird galaxy. Van Dokkum studies different galaxies, ones that cover enormous areas but have relatively few stars. To look for them, he and colleagues built their own makeshift telescope out of 48 telephoto lenses that he first tested by using a toy flashlight to shine a light on a paper clip. The bug-eyed telescope, called Dragonfly, peers into the sky from New Mexico. Using Dragonfly, Van Dokkum and colleagues found a large, sparse galaxy called NGC 1052-DF2 in the northern constellation Cetus, also known as the Whale. It's as big as the Milky Way, but with only 1% of its stars. Then they used larger telescopes on Hawaii and eventually the Hubble Space Telescope to study the galaxy. Even though the galaxy is mostly empty, they found clusters of densely grouped stars. With measurements from the telescopes, Van Dockum and colleagues calculated how fast those clusters moved. If there were a normal amount of dark matter, those clusters would be speeding around at about 67,000 miles per hour. Instead, the clusters were moving at about 18,000 miles per hour. That's about how fast they would move if there were no dark matter at all, Van Dockum said. The team also calculated the total mass of the galaxy and found the stars account for everything, with little or no room left for dark matter. I find this unlikely in all possible contexts, said McGow, who is a proponent of a modified gravity theory that excludes the existence of dark matter altogether. That doesn't make it wrong, just really weird. How could this absence of dark matter help prove that it exists? By potentially disproving modified gravity theories that suggest gravity acts in a way that the cosmos makes sense without dark matter. But those alternative theories require stars in this galaxy to zip at least twice as fast as they were seen moving in this study. Wow, there you go.
Very interesting. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It's the People's Pharmacy. It's tongue twister time. The question is, do cholesterol-lowering statins cause erectile dysfunction? And Joe and Teresa Graydon are here to answer that question. Question: I am 43 years of age. My cholesterol was elevated to 290. So my doctor prescribed atorvastatin. My wife is 39 years old and she is very sexy. In fact, people usually think she is in her 20s. I have normal sexual urges, but when we have the chance to make love, getting an erection is extremely difficult. She thinks I am losing interest in her or that there's someone else. Neither has happened in our 20 years together, and certainly it isn't true now. I do not have anyone else, and I am not disinterested in making love. So, my erectile difficulties are causing problems in our marriage. I recently had my cholesterol checked again, and it has dropped all the way down to 111. I plan to stop taking atorvastatin, and I plan to lower my levels, my cholesterol levels that is, by eating better. By eating better, would that restore my ability to get a solid erection? Answer: the effects of statin drugs on libido and sexual performance have been controversial for years. There is evidence that these cholesterol-lowering drugs lower testosterone levels. Although testosterone is linked to sexual desire and performance, a recent meta-analysis involving nearly 70,000 men did not find an association between statin use and erectile dysfunction. We have heard from many other men like you who believe that statins contributed to their sexual dysfunctions. We cannot say whether stopping atorvastatin will make a difference, but a healthful diet and exercise to lower your cholesterol also may have benefits in the bedroom? The next question. I want to know if there is anything I can take for arthritis pain that will not give me stomach ulcers, raise my blood pressure, or lead to a heart attack. I used to take ibuprofen and then naproxen for osteoarthritis. There's that tongue twister. But they resulted in ulcers. Moby did not work either. Vioxx helped, but they took it off the market. I am now on diclofenac and take Nexium, 40 milligrams of course, for GERD. Couldn't this diclofenac be damaging my stomach without my knowing it? Answer. Diclofenac can be irritating to the digestive tract. It can also increase the risk for hypertension and heart attacks. One prescription option that is often overlooked is the drug salicylate. It is related to aspirin, but is less likely to cause stomach irritation or ulcers. Salicylate may not reduce the chance for cardiovascular problems, but it does not seem to increase the risk either. In addition, salicylate improves blood sugar control. You can learn more about salicylate as well as home remedies for joint pain and inflammation from Graydon's Guide to Alternatives for Arthritis. And for you to order a copy, send a check for $16 to Graydon's People's Pharmacy, Department AFA, Post Office Box 52027, Durham, North Carolina 27717-2027. You can also place an order for the Graydon's Guide to Alternatives for Arthritis by going to www.peoplespharmacy.com. And now the last question for Joe and Teresa Graydon of the People's Pharmacy. Question. I have been taking metoprolol for my high blood pressure for the past 5 years. Since then, my blood sugar has ranged between 108 and 111. I never had blood sugar levels that high before taking metoprolol. My doctor is concerned, and I believe that this beta blocker is raising my blood sugar. Are there any studies concerning such drugs and high blood sugar levels? Answer. Beta blockers can raise blood sugar. Many health professionals no longer consider such drugs the first choice for treating high blood pressure. Your doctor should be able to prescribe a medicine that will not increase your risk for diabetes.
All right, now if you love to cook like I do, and Clark also, here are two neat little information bites for you. What is ghee? And ghee is spelled G-H-E-E, ghee. You may have found that word while you're reading in for Indian cooking, or even French. What is ghee? Ghee is a form of clarified butter, and it's considered to be a power food. In a recent Care2.com article, Diana Harrington, a researcher and author of the cookbook Eating Green and Lean, shared many of the benefits to using ghee, including 1, it does not spoil easily, so it does not need refrigeration. Some ghee mixtures last up to 100 years.
Of ghee?
Yeah.
Wow, 100 years.
Ghee is not likely to affect people with a dairy or casein intolerance. It's made from butter, but the milk solids and impurities have been removed. Ghee is rich in vitamins A and E and medium-chain fatty acids, which are absorbed directly by the liver like carbs and burn other fats in the system for energy. And ghee, unlike other oils, is rich in butyric acid, a short-chain fatty acid that provides intestinal wall support, and it can strengthen the immune system. So that's some information on ghee. Now here's a little gadget that every cook needs to know about. This is an immersion circulator that creates a hot tub for your sous vide. An immersion circulator is a little known gadget that's a must for anyone cooking the sous vide under vacuum way. This calculator is inserted into a water bath, and it heats the water to the exact desired temperature and circulates the water around the vacuum sealed food so that it cooks evenly. I can't believe that. You can get this little guy, this stainless steel gadget, for only $200, or a white polycarbonate for about $179 at chefsteps.com. And there you go, you can look into this. This was written by Deanna Bouknight from More Content Now.
And now we have a little piece from the newspaper. It's called Time and Money. Spend both wisely. And the title of this article is Check into your hotel room, then check it out for safety. This was written by Kimberly Palmer of nerdwallet.com. The travel experts warned that there are a host of potential dangers lurking in hotel rooms that deserve your immediate attention. Number 1, does the door shut and lock properly? Dennis P. Gimberling, president at hotel management consultancy Perry Group International, says that while hotel rooms are generally safe, one common problem is that the doors do not shut by themselves, and that can lead to doors being left open accidentally. A lot of people don't think about this. The first thing you should do is make sure the door to your room is closing all the way, both when you are entering and exiting. If there is a security chain or glide, then you use it. If not, use the deadbolt, he says. Dennis P. Gimberling also advises that you check the windows to ensure that they are locked and that you keep them that way. Number 2, does the room have a smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector? While smoke detectors are standard in hotel rooms, carbon monoxide detectors are less so, says Dennis P. Gimberling, president at hotel management consultancy Perry Group International. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas that can leak from faulty appliances and lead to injury or even death. Dennis Gimberling suggests asking at the front desk whether your room has one of these devices, especially if it is near a pool heater, near a laundry room, or near a water boiler, which could increase the risk of a carbon monoxide leak. If your room does not have one and it is near one of these sources, Gimberling suggests asking for a different room farther from those risks. As for the smoke detector, Dennis Gimberling advises making sure they are working by hitting that little test button on the smoke detector. Number 3, do you see any bed bugs?
Uh-oh.
I always recommend a quick inspection of the bed. The sides of the headboard, the underside of the box spring, says Jeff White, technical director of Bed Bug Central a website that tells you all about what you need to know about bed bugs. The main goal, he says, is to ensure there is not a serious bed bug infestation. A more thorough exam to check for any signs of bed bugs takes longer, and it is not necessary, White says, because the risk of bringing home bed bugs is low unless there is a large infestation. That's not what I've heard.
Me either.
Okay, so let's move on to number 4. Do you detect any smoke or allergens in your room? And that happened to us, didn't it, Nancy?
I did.
We walked down the hallway when we were checking into our hotel room about 3 months ago, and we had a hotel person behind us, and I asked her what she was doing, and she said we had a complaint that someone was smoking in their room. So here we go. Number 4, do you detect any smoke or allergens? For anyone that is sensitive to cigarette smoke, requesting a non-smoking room or hotel is a must, says Allison Warner, a clinical manager at United Allergy Services, a San Antonio-based treatment company. If you detect lingering smoke, ask for a new room. Allison Warner also suggests conducting your own inspection for allergens, including pet dander, including excess dust and leaves or dirt from outside that have been blown in through the windows. Check open windows, check balconies, and check your ledges for dust or pollen collection. She suggests, she being Allison Warner, a clinical manager at United Allergen Services, a San Antonio-based treatment company. Wiping down the room's air vents with a wet washcloth can also prevent allergens from being blown around, she adds. But isn't that what the maids are supposed to do?
That's what I thought.
Or what do they call them now? They're not maids anymore. They're called something, wait staff or something like that.
Something like that. Engineers, I think. Plenty.
Oh, hotel engineers?
There
Okay,
you go.
that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, and this is again, check into your hotel room, then check it out for safety. Number 5 says, does the bathtub have a non-slip surface? One of the most common accidents in hotel and motel rooms is slipping and falling in the bathtub. Dennis P. Gimberg, president at Hotel Management and Consultancy, which is at Perry Group International, says that tubs may not feature slip-resistant material as they often do in homes. Dennis Gimberling says if you notice the tub is slippery, you must immediately call the front desk and ask them to give you a non-slip bath mat. And the last question we have, or last statement about your hotel is, do you, as a hotel guest, know where the light switches are? Very important, isn't it? It might sound simple, but unfamiliar light switch locations can be disorienting in the middle of the night or right before you fall asleep, says hotel commercial photographer and hotel expert Rhiannon Taylor. She suggests checking the location of all the switches shortly after you arrive to your hotel room so you do not have to search for them later. And so, ladies and gentlemen, these are your 6 tips for your hotel room and to check it out for safety. This comes to you from the time and money section of the Fayetteville Observer.
All right. Progress, not perfection. 3 bits of real nutrition advice by Duvere Petit, MSRDN. One cannot browse the internet without seeing the new study linking diet to improved health or a disease-promoting ingredient to avoid. As a result, we have become fixated with and fearful of food. In her book, Consumed, Why Americans Hate, Love, and Fear Food. Author Michelle Stacy wrote, "We will not be healthier, both psychologically and physically, about our food until we learn to love it more, not less, with a relaxed, generous, unashamed emotion. In the process, it may be that we will have to redefine fundamentally the concept of eating well. Number 1, eat food that you like. There's no reason to eat something that doesn't taste good just because it's healthy. If you are choking down celery because you heard it is fibrous and low in calories, stop. Plus, varying your vegetables will provide your diet with ample vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals. 2, find food that satisfies you. A satisfying meal or snack tastes good and is well balanced, meaning it combines protein, carbohydrate, and fat. When you finish eating and you feel satisfied, you won't continue searching for food to meet your needs. Furthermore, you will eat less in the long run. 3, eat enough. Stop aiming to eat a certain number of calories or grams. Instead, pay attention to your hunger and fullness. When you ditch numbers and listen to your body, you will find that your body truly knows how much it needs to feel its best."
And, once again, wastewater spills into a Hope stream in Rayford. About 4,500 gallons of wastewater overflowed into a stream in Rayford on Tuesday, a town official said. The State Division of Water Quality was notified, said Trudy McVicker, the city's operations manager and environmental compliance officer. The overflow occurred at around 12:50 p.m. behind the Rayford Cemetery, which is adjacent to the Edinburgh Avenue. The wastewater entered Peddler's Branch. The overflow was caused by debris in the line. If you would like more information about the wastewater spill into a Hope stream, you may call 910-875-4931 and ask to speak to Amanda Dolasinski. I would like to remind you all, again, once more, about the 8th annual golf tournament. It is called the We Read Radio, Read to the Blind Through Radio program. This 8th annual golf tournament will be on Saturday, 7 April 2018 at the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club, starting at 11 a.m. And I believe that 11 a.m. time is for registration. Tee-off time will be at 12 p.m. With your support of $100, your sponsorship will include additional advertisement and hole signage. A corporate sponsorship of $300 will include additional advertisement and hole signage, and 4 players will be eligible to play on the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club for free. This donation is tax deductible. Remember, this is the 7th of April 2018 on Saturday at the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club. This concludes our broadcast of the Fayetteville Observer. Your radio hosts today have been Clark and
Nancy.
At 2 p.m., please listen to the Southern Pines Pilot, and at 4 p.m., you can hear Off the Bookshelf. Additionally, you will hear a broadcast of today's Fayetteville Observer Tonight at 9 p.m. We will now join the Raleigh Network for additional news of interest. And as always, Clark and
Nancy,
thank you for tuning us in. We've enjoyed being with you this morning, and we wish that you have a wonderful day. And remember, this weekend is Easter weekend, so we wish that you all have a very happy Easter.